What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome on in. It's 1TS Daily right here on One True Sport. How's it going? Happy Thursday. I'm Zack Heydorn. I am your host. Great to be here. Thanks for everybody checking in this morning and talking a little pro wrestling news with me. We got a lot to get to. An exciting night to chat about in AEW land with AEW Dynamite and some interesting developments on a lot of different subjects that I definitely want to get to that are newsworthy coming out of the show. But first and foremost, this is 1TS Daily. We are here live on One True Sport every single day, 11 Eastern, talking with you about the news of the day, the news of the week in professional wrestling. And we talk about it all, guys. WWE, NXT, AEW. Going to talk a little bit of Impact today. We talk about it all. So glad you're here. Make sure that you are subscribed to this YouTube channel. Make sure that you like this video and make sure that you turn notifications on because One True Sport has a ton of content going up on this channel on the regular since we premiered and debuted on Monday. And you don't want to miss any of it. So subscribe and hit that notification button so you don't miss anything. If you haven't yet, head over to onetruesport.com. And there you can find all the One True Sport membership tiers. There's a lot of different options on how you can become a One True Sport member. Lots of great perks and opportunities for our members to engage with us, to engage with talent, and to just have a really fun time talking and engaging with this sport that we love, professional wrestling. Once again, it's onetruesport.com. If you haven't checked us out over at Brass Ring Media, please do. We have a wonderful channel over there with live long form analysis of professional wrestling. So long form shows live every day of the week on YouTube. You can check it out right now. Just search Brass Ring Media and YouTube will be the first thing that comes up. We'd love to have you over there testing us out, and we definitely would appreciate that. We also have a Substack. If you want to check us out over there, that's where a lot of my writing is on a day-to-day basis at Brass Ring Media Substack. So please give that a shot. Thank you to our members who have joined this week. It's been a heck of a week, a really fun week. Being a part of this launch, One True Sport, and just seeing all the support come in and all the people kind of signing up with us and kind of agreeing with our vision on how to cover professional wrestling and an environment we want to have and talking about it. And so it's awesome to see you guys with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lastly, if you're interested and you have questions, you can hit us up on Twitter. It's 1T Sport on Twitter. That's 1T Sport. Cool? Cool. As for the show today, the live chat is open. We got people filing in on YouTube. We got people filing in on Twitter. We also have our super chats available, and that is a big help to keep this machine going and just helping us stay on the track. Every little bit helps. Every contribution can help us out. And we certainly would appreciate it. And we'll read all super chats, whether it's a comment or a question or what have you. We will make sure to get to those before the end of our time here today on 1TS Daily. Hello, Amy. Amy's in the chat here. Thanks so much for being here, Amy. Appreciate it. She says, morning, everyone. Yes, good morning, Amy. Thank you so much for checking the show out today. Let's start off with that old MJF promo from last night on AEW Dynamite. MJF kicked off Dynamite. He kicked off the show. His first appearance on Dynamite in months and his first appearance in AEW since making his return to the company at Double or Nothing. Of course, we know at Double or Nothing, he announced that he's resigned with AEW. He's going to be around for a while. He's going to be in the mix as AEW's top star or one of their top stars for the foreseeable future. That's the nature of what we have going on right now with that situation. For everybody who's watching live here and in the chat, I just need a thumbs up or thumbs down from you. What'd you think of MJF's promo last night? Because I had mixed feelings on it, honestly. Let me just talk about the positives. MJF's a big star. I mean, there's no question about that. He carries himself as a big star. I think he just lifts up the company and lifts up the show in general when he's on it, because he is such a big star and because he is such a presence. He just has this aura about him that is an aura of star power. And that's what you need in pro wrestling ultimately. Matches are matches and those are great, but you have to have stars doing star things. And MJF regularly presents himself as such. So from that end, in terms of presentation, in terms of a fresh look, he ditched the suits. He's got a more of a rugged look. I think that plays really nicely and kind of just refreshes the whole act. So all of that is thumbs up. And I thought he did a nice job carrying the opening promo. My issue was the content of the promo itself. I think MJF has to understand it's not good for business when you run down other top baby faces on the show. It's one thing if MJF is a heel, right? But he's clearly not. He's being presented and booked as a baby face out there. That's where he's at right now. And so I think that there's a better way for MJF to acknowledge the Will Ospreays of the world, to acknowledge the Swerve Stricklands of the world, than to give them the same kind of zinger that he gave Kazuchika Okada. Okada, I think, is fine. Just because he's a heel, or he's supposed to be a heel anyway. Not everybody reacts to him as such, but that's what he's supposed to be. So that's fine, but you don't want to treat the baby faces the same way that you treat your heels if you are a top baby face on the show. And I get that, Tony Khan is going to want to build towards MJF versus Ospreay, and that he's going to want to build towards MJF versus Swerve Strickland. I get that. But MJF has to figure out a different way to kind of zing them than to just call them out the way that he did. Like, to me, he put the audience in a situation where they're sitting in the crowd questioning their love for those two guys because of the way MJF's talking about them and because they're essentially cheering MJF as he runs them down. And that is where I think you want to draw the line if you're MJF. That's the line you don't want to cross. You don't want the fans to have to make that choice. And I thought last night with some of the zingers that MJF tossed out there, that's exactly what was happening. And I think MJF needs to think twice about whether or not he wants to do that again. Let's get some chats here. I want to just poke around and see what everybody's saying. King of 2K24 is out there saying MJF sucks, always been and always will be. Well, there you go. Tell us how you really feel, King of 2K24. There you have it. MJF sucks. Appreciate the comment. Amy's saying overall thumbs up for MJF last night. And Andrew jumping in saying Roosh is beneath MJF. It looked like he was going for a stone cold persona. Yeah, a little bit. Andrew also says here, lone wolf, DTA, anti-hero, etc. Yeah, Andrew, that's an interesting comment because he was kind of like the lone wolf angle. And is that what he said? Lone wolf, I believe. I thought when I saw the wolf shirt, my thing was, okay, they finally came up with a better shirt to showcase the MJF wolf of wrestling persona that he kind of tried to debut at Double or Nothing, and then they released that awful shirt on shopaew.com. Just really yuck. And that the one that he was showcasing yesterday was much better. So that's what I thought. But he was kind of like an outsider, I feel like, with this promo, and maybe that's what they're going for. I don't think we know yet. As far as Roosh goes, he is so beneath MJF. I mean, it really is. It's another one of those AEW matches where you're kind of like, okay, I guess we're just gonna go with this and pretend that we don't know for sure that MJF is gonna beat Roosh. I hope that this match doesn't happen at Forbidden Door. I hope they do it on television before that. I just don't think this is a pay-per-view match for MJF, to Andrew's point. Rush is barely on TV. He hasn't been on TV in months. Can he have a good match with MJF? Absolutely, he can have a good match with MJF. But should he be having a good match with MJF? That's the question. And that's where I say no. If they're going to have a match, MJF should really beat him in seconds. Amy is bringing up a really good point here, saying, I liked how MJF built Rush up during the promo. Great point, Amy. Yeah, he did a good job. He did do a good job with that. And even though I think fans understand that Rush is beneath MJF, that's what a good opponent does. A good opponent builds up their opponent. And I think that's what MJF did here. I don't know. My thing is, and thanks, Amy, appreciate it. I hope that, MJF isn't put in a position where he has to go, 25 minutes with Rush, just to go 25 minutes with Rush. Like, he's clearly better. He's presented as a better pro wrestler. He's won more championships. Like, have him get a win that he should get based on how both these guys are presented. That's what I do. So it's something to watch. The bare overall question is, does it matter? Does it matter that MJF is talking about babyfaces this way? I think it does. It remains to be seen. Later in the show, Swerve Strickland responded to MJF and called him out back and said he'd deal with him later. I thought that was good. That's a small little breadcrumb of a potential feud. So it's good to see Swerve not just completely ignore the comments that MJF is making. But in the end, I think, when you put these guys together, Swerve and Ospreay, that's going on right now. If you do Swerve and MJF, if you do Ospreay and MJF, you're asking your fans to choose between one of their favorites and another one of their favorites. And that is a dicey situation, always in pro wrestling. That's why babyface versus babyface matches are so rare, and them working is even rarer than them happening, because it's a difficult putt to sink. So we'll see how this goes, and we'll track it right here at 1TS Daily. The other major story coming out about Dynamite last night, major news story, is a focused Bryan Danielson. How about that promo that Danielson cut about the Owen Hart tournament and about his run so far during his last year as a full-time wrestler? I mean, Danielson was great. I mean, is there, you guys, for real, is there a better talent to pull off a promo like that than Bryan Danielson? A guy who can own up to his losses. He says, I had big plans for my final year as a full-time professional wrestler, and they haven't worked out. I lost this match. I lost that match. I lost I lost the Continental Classic. I lost to Okada in the Tokyo Dome. And then I lost at Anarchy in the Arena. And that's what really put things into perspective for me. And then he framed up what he's going to do the rest of this year. Boom. But I've got one final opportunity. I've got one final chance to make something of my final year as a full-time pro wrestler. And it's going to happen during the Owen Hart tournament. That was great. And Danielson played it perfectly. And I genuinely don't know what's going to happen, whether or not Bryan Danielson is going to win the Owen Hart Cup tournament. I doubt it, just because, I can't see him being in the title match at AEW All In Wembley Stadium. It seems like that title match is going to go in a different direction, whether that's Will Ospreay again, or whether that is MJF or somebody else entirely, excuse me. I just don't know that Danielson fits into those plans, but that's okay. It's okay to have your audience behind somebody that they think can make it big and win the big one. And Danielson is that guy. I mean, that's why he's as over as he is. It's that type of relationship he has with his fans. And so I'm really interested to see what this focused Bryan Danielson with a mission and a prize on his mind can do for AEW and his final run. It's not his final run. This isn't like a Sting situation where you're building up to a retirement match. But I do think that if you're Tony Khan and you're paying Bryan Danielson what you're paying him, and He's getting the television time that he's getting on a regular basis. Like, you want to get something out of that. You need to get something out of that, frankly. Whether that's, a big match for him on pay-per-view, or a big title win, or some kind of big match on television that draws a huge number, or he puts over, an up-and-coming talent, something. But you want to get something out of this final run. And to this point, I don't know that Tony Khan has yet. I think like he's put on some really interesting matches. Some of the stuff that Danielson did with the CMLL guys was cool on AEW Collision. Danielson has worked some Japanese stars, and Danielson's just kind of out there, like doing his thing, right? Like that's been his year so far. But now it's time, I think, Tony Khan utilize the business of Danielson to further AEW and further Tony Khan's company. That's, I think, the name of the game at this point. And I thought last night was a really positive step to get that done. It kind of, I don't know, it kind of reminded me of Ric Flair, his last run in WWE, where you knew it was ending, but not really. And Flair would cut these promos where he'd put it all on the line, talking about, getting the most out of his last days as a professional wrestler. So this kind of echoed that a little bit for me. My question to you guys, and for those in the chat, Andrew and Amy and King of 2K 2024, King of 2K, are you a Danielson fan? I want to know what you guys think. Did Daniel Bryan, I did it. I've been good at that, man. I've been really good at not calling Bryan Danielson Daniel Bryan for months and years at this point. But there we go. I slipped. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I want to know in the chat what you think. Is Danielson going to win the Owen Hart Cup tournament? Is he going to win? Is he going to main event All In? Is that the best way for Tony Khan to get the most out of him? Do you do Swerve versus Danielson? That's a fresh matchup. That could be something that they could go to. I kind of had in my mind Danielson versus Will Ospreay penciled in for that show, but they're going with it at Forbidden Door. So I think that means Tony Khan has something else in mind for All In. So hey, we'll see. Liam is in the chat. He goes, I'd like to see that. Yeah, me too. Again, I don't know that he fits in right now, but it's a long way between now and All In, and between now and the end of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. So they definitely could orchestrate an avenue where you have this huge match for Danielson at that enormous show, the biggest show of the year for AEW. It could happen. Thanks, Liam. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for making your comment. Thanks for listening. Once again, this is 1TS Daily. We are here live on One True Sport every day, 11 Eastern, talking the news of the day, the news of the week in professional wrestling with you, getting your opinions, allowing you to rant and rave in the chat, if you will. I do the same here, so it's only fair to let you guys do the same as well. Our super chats are open if you're able to contribute. If you haven't done so already, check me out on Brass Ring Media. That's my little shop that I run. Would appreciate you guys getting your eyes on that product. I would appreciate that. So Andrew jumping in the chat here going, Tony Khan is an idiot for hot-shotting Swerve and Ospreay. He's buried Swerve. No redemption. Ospreay wins. Man, Andrew, I had a similar feeling. I had a similar feeling about Swerve versus Ospreay when they first announced that match. I really did. But we have to wait for this to play out. I really believe that in this instance. There's in no way is Swerve buried at this point in time. I would disagree with you on that point specifically. I get why you could say, all right, hot-shotting Swerve versus Ospreay is bad, but he's not burying Swerve. I don't know that Ospreay wins. I don't think that that's a sure bet. And And even if it is what happens and Ospreay wins, I mean, Will Ospreay is probably now that MJF's back, the second biggest star in AEW. So, I mean, I wouldn't call that a burial, if you're putting over the second biggest star in the company. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for Swerve in that instance. Sorry for the bump there. To have to fight and claw for his place at the top of the company. But I mean, that's kind of a good thing. I mean, that's kind of what you want in your company. You want a bunch of guys at or near the top that want to be at or near the top. Like, I think okay. And in this case, if Ospreay is still as hot as he is, like, it's hard to argue against, getting that title on him and making him the face of the company. I mean, I wouldn't have done it either. I just want to be clear about that. I would have done it either. I wouldn't have done it either, but I don't think it's a burial of Swerve. I think that's I would disagree with you on that point. Thanks, Liam. Liam says here, I'm enjoying the show. I caught up on the previous episodes last night whilst at work. Like this idea of a daily show covering what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling. I appreciate it, Liam. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad you're going to make sure to tune in live. I hope you can. I hope that that helps, and you can turn into our other. I hope that helps. I hope that happens, and you can turn into our other live shows with RVD and with Bill Alfonso and all the other cool stuff that's hitting the channel. Appreciate your support. Moving on here. We'll talk TNA Impact tonight. We got Jordynne Grace versus Allison Kay for the Knockouts Championship. Let's put a pin in that for a minute. Nick Nemeth against Frankie Kazarian. Laredo Kid versus AJ Francis for the Digital Media Championship. Trent Seven and Mike Bailey versus Mustafa Ali and Campaign Singh. Jake Something versus Khan. And then the return of Giselle Shaw. All is being advertised for tonight's episode of TNA Impact. The story that matters here tonight is Jordynne Grace. I mean, it's smart of TNA, obviously, to have Jordynne Grace in a major match on the show this week, coming off of her appearance on NXT and going into her appearance at NXT Battleground on Sunday. Like, that that makes sense. It'd be silly. I mean, you really have to roll your eyes if, like, Jordynne Grace wasn't a featured part of the TNA Impact show this week. I mean, that'd be, I don't know, gosh, I don't want to rag on TNA too much, but that'd be like a classic TNA mistake, to, like, you have all this exposure for Jordynne Grace and then now she's not on your show this week. But they're not. They're being smart about this. That is the way to go. And this is, we'll see here, like, what kind of needle Jordynne Grace can move, and really what kind of needle NXT can move for Jordynne Grace and for TNA. We'll see here based on what happens with the show this week. But I think it's a smart play, and it's a decent looking card. I mean, it's a decent looking card. But again, all eyes are on Jordynne Grace, to be sure. We'll have a full NXT Battleground preview tomorrow, right here on the show, right here in 1TS Daily. So don't miss it. Be here, 11 Eastern, 10 Central. We'll look at the card. Maybe we'll even do some little predictions in the live chat here and with super chats, and try to pick some winners and have a little bit of fun in that regard too. But that'll be tomorrow, right here. Amy Vaughn says, where and how does Camille fit into AEW if rumors are true that she is signed there? I like that signing a lot for AEW. AEW and the women's division in AEW in particular has a lot of similar style talents. I mean, like Toni Storm, Mariah May, Saraya, Deonna Purrazzo, Serena Deeb, even Mercedes Moné, Willow Nightingale. I mean, they all are similar in style in terms of how they wrestle. Like, it's all very, very similar. That doesn't mean it's bad. By no means does that mean it's bad, but it just means it's similar. And I think Camille joining AEW would really, really freshen up that division in terms of diversity and style. Like, she's got a different style to her. She's not flying around the ring doing stuff off the top rope and flips. And, she's a much more of a calculated, old school kind of pro wrestler. And I think that would play well in AEW. I think that would play well in WWE too, in NXT or wherever she lands. I think she's a different talent in that way. And I think that would be her spot. That's where she'd fit in. And it kind of will depend at that point, like where she goes and how over she gets in that role. If she comes in and is a big hit, then she's someone I think you can put a championship on and have baby faces chase her, and try to beat her. If she doesn't, she can kind of be that Nia Jax gatekeeper heel for baby faces that are on the rise to a world title match. So I think she adds a lot to AEW in particular because she has that different style, Amy. So that'd be where I'd put her for sure. Appreciate you, Amy. Thank you. All right. Time for Nuggets. 1TS Daily Nuggets for 6/6/2024. Alicia O'Toole joins AEW as a brand new backstage announcer interviewer. She made her debut yesterday on some social media clips, but also it was announced by AEW that she had joined the company. I think this is a good move for AEW. I mean, Renee Paquette is the best at what she does. I mean, she's really good. I think she just is able to carry segment after segment after segment after segment with like this aura of credibility as a journalist and as a reporter backstage who's roving around trying to get stories. She's the best at that. I think a 2 is good too. And more than anything though, I think like you want more than one person backstage doing it. And yeah, I know they've got Alex Marvez but a 2 is a strong presence in that same role. And I think it's just good to have another face back there, another personality back there, kind of carrying that load. So it's not Renee over and over and over and over and over again. So at the very least, I think this is a good move for the company because of that and that alone. I'm looking forward to seeing her on television. Wardlow took to Twitter. You guys remember Wardlow, right? He's a member of the Undisputed Kingdom. If that's still a faction, I don't know. I guess it is. But Wardlow called out MJF, his partner and enemy for so many years, on Twitter, and says, quote, he wants to be a 6'3", 270-pound monster athlete so bad. Now stealing my whole identity? Call yourself the lone wolf all you want, but you're still just a bad word that I squashed like nothing. I almost feel bad for the little boy, but the disrespect has gone for too long and it's gone too far. That's Wardlow on MJF. Well, what do you guys think? Sounds like a working note to me, obviously, right? I don't think I'm breaking any news there. But I don't know. Come on, Wardlow. You're not in that space. You're not at that level. I mean, you're just not there, man. So, you can say this all you want, but I don't think MJF's going to respond, number one. So you're not really going to get what you want. The faction that you joined, Undisputed Kingdom, really fizzled instantly. And now is not even going to be in a feud with MJF after they, beat him up and turned on him and all that stuff at the end of 2023. Not great. So yeah, it happened. And Wardlow's trying. He's trying really hard, but it's just not going to work out for you. Not great. Not great trash talk there, Wardlow. Andrew here says the booking has ruined Wardlow. Yeah, the booking for sure, but I think Wardlow needed to show some growth as well. I mean, I think he takes some responsibility here. He just is not growing at all in the ring, on mic. He was as popular as he was when he was working with MJF, but he's really been nothing outside of that. And I think that's telling, Andrew. Also, and last but not least for Nuggets here, Chris Jericho revealed to TMZ Sports the favorite era of his career. You'll never guess. You'll never guess what it is. You'll never guess. Jericho told TMZ Sports, people always ask me, what's your favorite era of Chris Jericho? And he said, I always say the one I'm in right now, the learning tree. If it's not that, then why am I doing it? There's been a lot of great moments, but I like this era. I like what's going on right now. Well, at least somebody does, Chris. At least somebody does. I thought last night on Dynamite, that learning tree gimmick was an abomination. Like, I loved where it started. It had nuance. It had a little bit of depth. It had a little plausible deniability of Jericho's just saying what he's saying, but does he really buy it? And yesterday, he dropped all the nuance and just made it this goofy, silly thing with a weird voice and it was just flat. It was flat and one note. And he took this gimmick that had depth and he made it one note. And I don't know how far it can get. I mean, when you look at who he's kind of tangling around with, it's Private Party, it's Big Bill, it's Brian Keith. It's like, that's like low card. It's at the bottom of the card in AEW. That's where Jericho's at. And that's your favorite era of your career, Chris? Come on, we can be honest. We can be honest, Chris Jericho. Let's hope that this isn't really your favorite era of your career. Andrew jumping in on this topic saying he's so disingenuous, coming in talking to the cameraman and driver. Pop me. Hate to admit. Well, hey, I've been a proponent of the gimmick up until yesterday. I really was. I liked the nuance. I liked Jericho reinventing himself. I liked that. I just thought yesterday was just way, way too silly. But I'm glad I popped you. We'll see what happens. And thanks for the comments, Andrew. All right, you guys, we got to ride off into the sunset here. We got to wrap things up. Thanks to everybody who joined us live on YouTube. Thanks to everybody who joined us live on Twitter. Thanks to our live chatters, Amy and Liam and Andrew, and hopefully I didn't miss anybody else. And King of 2K24. How could I forget you? Big MJF fan there. No. Thank you all for joining the show. We'll be back tomorrow right here, One True Sport, 11 Eastern, to talk the news of the day in wrestling. We will also, as I said, preview NXT Battleground right here on the show. Make sure you guys are subscribing to this channel. Make sure you turn notifications on. And if you can do me a favor, hit that like button. It helps us a lot with algorithms and stuff with YouTube. Appreciate it. Also, if you make sure you're going to onetruesport.com, check out our membership options. They're great. Lots of perks, lots of awesome stuff for you to take advantage of. Give us a shot to earn your business. onetruesport.com. And while you're at it, if you want more of my work on a day-to-day, minute-by-minute basis, really, check us out over at Brass Ring Media. We are free on YouTube. Just search Brass Ring Media, and on Substack. Search Brass Ring Media there as well for our written work. I'd appreciate it. I think you'll like what we do. Long form coverage of professional wrestling. And if you forget all that, I got you covered on Twitter. Just give me a follow at Zack_Heydorn. Cool. Thanks so much, you guys. Same place, same time tomorrow, right here on 1TS Daily on One True Sport. See you later.